Hi, this is Taylor with Crestview Law. As of July of 2024, Crestview Law is officially 1 year old. In recognition of this anniversary, I wanted to take a moment to record some thoughts and discuss a few of the lessons that I've learned this past year as a small business owner. Now, this year has brought a lot of highs, some lows, but mostly a lot of lessons. I'd like to share just a few of these lessons, and I've intentionally chosen ones that I feel would be widely applicable to a bunch of different types of small businesses. So these aren't lawyer specific. I hope that this can be of use to folks that are maybe considering small business ownership or those that are already in this path. Thank you. Lesson number 1, start with a plan. Duh, right? I want to talk about the elements that I think make up this planning portion. Now, I came into this business having spent many years planning for this. I knew that I wanted to try something like this, and so I spent years planning, researching, thinking, that sort of thing. Some of that process helped, some of that didn't. And so that reflects what I wanted to talk about today. Now, there's 3 elements that I wanted to talk about. Number 1, I want to talk about capturing a vision as part of the planning process. Number 2, I want to talk about what your due diligence should look like. And number 3, I want to talk about how to formalize the plan. Now, to that first element, capturing a vision. I think it is crucial to give yourself permission to daydream. I think it is crucial to spend time away from the distractions, away from social media, your phone, whatever's distracting you, maybe with a pad of paper or just with your thoughts, whatever, thinking, daydreaming, trying to capture some sort of vision for what you want this business to be. But give yourself permission to daydream. Give yourself a chance to capture the vision. I do think during that process, you should try and focus on what makes your business different. Try and focus on those elements in your mind. Additionally, I think that you should try and envision specific periods of time. Some folks say 3 years, some say 5 years, 1 year, whatever. I think whatever you think is fine, right? But an important element that a lot of folks don't consider is what you want your end game to be. Do you want to eventually sell your business? Those are important considerations, and those should inform how you start your business. To the second element, the due diligence element, I could spend an entire video on this portion, right? There are so many great resources out there for folks doing due diligence on starting a business. One industry inside of business in general, right, is something called business intelligence. Ultimately, it's gathering data about competition and your market, right? Those ideas should form a part of the due diligence that you're doing. You should figure out what your market is. Now, that includes where you're offering services, right? So for folks maybe where I live in the greater Wenatchee area, you figure out the population of this area. You can look at different, like Census Reporter, I think, as a website that I used that just kind of compiles a bunch of data, and it shows you the greater Wenatchee area, the metro area, how many people live here, what those demographics look like. You can use that data to figure out how many folks fit your ideal client, your ideal customer, right? These are really important things to know. So these are really important considerations. The second part of that is understanding your competition. So for me, when I started this journey, after I had figured out what the area looks like, the demographics, the market, all of that, then I started looking at the different competition, the other law firms, right? People offering services similar to what I wanted to do in this area. I looked at their firms, their websites, reached out to a few of them actually as well, and tried to figure out what I could do differently than what they were doing. A part of business intelligence that I think even in the greater large corporate world is underappreciated is human intelligence, right? You don't have to just be searching pages, websites, that sort of hard data. There's something valuable about qualitative data, right? Speaking with humans. When I was considering this journey, I reached out to my competition. I met with multiple attorneys that do exactly what I do, and I had some great experiences doing that. Now, maybe lawyers, attorneys, maybe we're a different breed. I don't think so, right? We have quite a negative reputation in society at large, but they were fine talking to me. I had some great insight given from the people that I met with, and it was wonderful. And a few of them actually ended up being sort of mentors to me, and I still reach out and I still utilize to this day, 1 year in. So there's something valuable about doing that as well. Finally, don't just reach out to folks involved in this area, reach out to adjacent areas, right? So in addition to reaching out to other estate planning attorneys, I also reached out to accountants, I reached out to financial planners, and I got just incredible information from all of them. The final element to this planning portion to me is formalizing a plan. Write it down. Now, how formal this plan looks like depends on what your goals are, right? If you're going to be trying to get a loan from a bank, then you need a very formal business plan. There's tons of templates you can find online that can help you with that. You're going to be presenting it to somebody. Now, if you're not doing any of that, I still think there's significant value in writing down what you're intending to do. It keeps you accountable. It also allows you to point to something, hand it off to somebody else, and say, this is my plan. What do you think? My plan was probably too formal for what I needed. It was like a 30-page plan full of data, and I've referred to it a few times and laughed at some of the ideas I had, and then also said, oh yeah, hey, I was on point there. So there's some value to that. I think that this formalized plan should eventually form the basis from what your operations document should be. It should be an accessible document that you're allowed to edit and change as your business moves along. That to me has been very important as I've gone down this journey. So that is my first real lesson that I've taken away. Make a plan. Now that you have a plan, now that you've gone through the vision process, the investigation process, and ultimately the formalizing process, lesson 2 is be flexible. That may seem like a bit of a contradiction after you've gone through this formal planning part, but ultimately you cannot anticipate how your plans will mix in with the real world. You can't anticipate how potential customers and clients will react to your services or your product until you actually get out in the market. And if you're inflexible, you could lose out on amazing opportunities. Let me give you an example from my own practice. During the planning portion, I anticipated creating a strong niche among families with loved ones that have special needs. When I say special needs, I refer to like disabilities or other extra planning considerations. Individuals that have special needs, disabilities, have important considerations that need to be taken into account when individuals are making wills or trusts. As the father of someone that does have special needs, I understand very well where these families are coming from. And I felt that my perspective would be unique in this area after doing the research that I did. So I anticipated that this would be one of my bigger practice areas. Now fast forward a year, largely it hasn't. I have had a few clients and I've really enjoyed serving them, but it has not been the large chunk of the practice that I anticipated. Maybe in the future it will be. This past year it was not. However, one area that I did not realize would be as huge was serving Spanish-speaking clients. I'm very comfortable with this community, and when I was doing my research into this firm, I thought, yeah, you know what, there's a lot of Spanish speakers and I could provide some pretty unique services to them. Writing, communicating really, in their native language. I did not, however, anticipate how much of a need there was. I've had a huge chunk of my clients that are Spanish speaking, that have come to me specifically because I'm Spanish speaking. I didn't anticipate it. And it's been a wonderful opportunity for me. Had I started my journey thinking I am just going to serve this ideal client for whatever reason, I would have lost out on some incredible clients that I've really enjoyed working with. So yes, make your plans, but be flexible. Find trusted advisors and offload where you can. As a new business owner, this world can be very lonely at times. You often feel like you have to do everything yourself. And to some extent, doing things yourself is good. But there comes a point where you can't do what you need to do. And when you get to a place that you cannot do the thing that you need to do, or maybe you're not the best person to do the thing that you need to do, there is value in offloading. This is a bit of a plug, I should say. When you're first starting a business, there is a lot of benefit that somebody like an accountant or a lawyer can bring to your brand new business. Lawyers, like myself, help people incorporate their business. I help people create LLCs. I help people create agreements with anybody that they're going into business with. I can help people get licensing that you need, that sort of thing. If you find yourself in a situation where there is something you don't know how to do or don't have the energy or the time to do, there's value in offloading. Personally, for me, when I started my business as a lawyer, I've had a lot of exposure to a bunch of different things, and I felt like I could do pretty much everything that I needed to. And largely I did, for better and for worse. I probably should have been working directly with an accountant from day one, but I still felt like I could do my taxes because I'd always have done my own taxes, and I understand a lot about taxes. It was kind of a waste of time for me to do my own taxes. My time would have been much better spent had I offloaded it to somebody else. One area that was good is when I created my own website, which I did myself, right? I wondered if I needed help optimizing my website for search engine results. I had a bunch of people trying to sell me on services with SEO. And I found a few really good salesmen, the one in particular that if I ever do hire somebody, I'll hire this guy in particular. But this first year I tried to do it myself. I actually had the time because I didn't have a ton of clients, so I took a course and learned the basics and implemented them, and I had quite a bit of success. But there may also come a day where I need to offload this as well. Google is constantly updating its algorithm, so actually that's very likely that that day will come. The principle is know when you've reached your limits. When you have, find some trusted advisors and offload things with them. It's crucial. Crestview Law can be that trusted advisor if you need help starting your business. Now on to the final lesson that I wanted to share today. Beware of sales. There's an entire industry built on serving exclusively small businesses. These sort of companies are called business-to-business companies, meaning that they serve other businesses. There's businesses that serve other businesses. Sometimes they're also called B2B companies or B2B sale. Now they contrast with other organizations that maybe just serve just directly to the consumer, or organizations like me that serve consumers, but I also serve businesses. I also have businesses as clients. But again, there's an entire industry out there trying to serve and trying to sell to small business owners like you. When you start a company, folks will come out of the woodwork to try and sell you products or services for this business. We all have experience being on the receiving end of sales. We've all gotten the unsolicited sales calls, we've gotten the unsolicited emails, all of that. So we're all sort of familiar with this, but I did not anticipate how huge of a thing it was. In my own personal life, I get a few calls a month. As a business owner, especially when I first started, it was constant. I had daily emails from folks trying to set up a consultation, trying to set up a phone call. So it's constant. It's important to know when you start your business, you have services, you have products that you need. I need an email provider, right? I need internet in my office. Those are all things that I need. So it's important to distinguish the necessary products, the necessary services from things that are maybe helpful, things that could maybe help your business grow, but you're not sure if they're necessary, to things that probably aren't helpful at all, really. Spending money does not mean that you will make it up on the back end. Some sales folks out there are very pushy. It's important to know that. It's even more of an issue inside of the business world. I interacted with one salesperson And I actually I had to do business with them because they were offering services and products that I needed. But this guy sold me on a package that I did not need. And he did that because he brought all of these different tactics out. One example that's really common when you first start a business, you'll have folks saying, hey, new business owners get X deal, but you only have a certain amount of time to act. Another thing that's really common is you'll get, hey, this first year, free, totally free. Just have to sign a 3-year contract that you can't get out of if your business goes under. That's a thing that happens. So it's important to know hard sales tactics are out there. In that same vein, and I don't want to put these people in the same pool, but it's similar. When you start a business, you are also a target for scammers. I've written a blog post about this. Check it out on my blog if you want. I have gotten multiple folks trying to scam me. They usually use my website's contact form. They'll reach out and they'll say like, hey, I own this medical device and I'm trying to expand into your state. Please help me out. And the first one I got, I was like, wait, I've never done anything like this. Why would a medical device company, which is a huge, super lucrative industry, be coming to a teeny tiny brand new firm? It was a giant red flag, and I was absolutely right. So it's important to know that when you start a business, you are creating a target for salespeople and also scammers. So just know what you need, know what you don't need, and stick your ground. Like I said at the beginning, this year has been full of highs and lows, but lots of learning lessons. I've enjoyed it. I want to thank my clients that I've worked with. I want to thank those trusted advisors, those wonderful salespeople that I have been able to work with. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward, hopefully, to many more years of service here in the Wenatchee Valley. Thank you.